Folks, we're going to change up just a bit today. We have got a pretty cool band in studio with us, and I want to give them a chance to share their story. I mean, I've heard these guys, and I got to tell you, they are good. They call themselves White Elephant, and they can seriously rock. Guys, welcome to Horsepower for an Hour.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Is it too late to go to the bathroom at this point?
Yeah, and don't take your top off.
Okay.
Folks, we have Chris Katchamasi and we have Will Agtang in studio with us. Guys, tell us a little bit about, or tell our listeners, how did the whole White Elephant idea come about?
I'll take this one. Okay, I'll make the long story very short. In 2005, I met a guy in high school, Jordan Felipe, one of my best friends, and we started a band, an acoustic duo that we would do, and then that evolved into a metal band, and then the metal band went really good, and then it fell horribly, and then I kept some of the acoustic songs that I had done with my buddy Jordan that we'd play at cafes, and I started recording them, and at first I just named the band after myself, just Chris Katchamasi Project or whatever, and I got about 14 songs done, half of them old, half of them new, and I was thinking, I don't like, just having a solo name, and so I want to think of a name, and I'm really a fan of bringing up subjects that people don't want to touch. And the first time I ever heard the saying of elephant in the room, I heard it as the white elephant in the room. And I said, what a great band name, because that totally suits me. And then, my mom's favorite animal is an elephant anyway. So I'm like, okay, cool, two-dimensional band name.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Katchamasi, if you were touring the guy in the marquee, really thanks you. He says, it's a lot of name to put up
I'll
there
just
on a
change my
billboard.
stage name to
That's
Simmons.
It. Go. Rock it.
And then we also have Will Agtang. Now, Will, you are a bassist extraordinaire. I've had a chance to hear some of your bass solos, and it's interesting to me how it is that on stage with this young man, there's typically a fire extinguisher that can put out the fire on the neck of this bass. This kid plays bass guitar almost like a lead guitar. Welcome to Horsepower, Will.
Thank you.
Man, it's good to have you on board. Talk to our listeners just a bit about how you kind of came to be such a bass aficionado.
Well, when I was about 9, I started playing guitar, and I took lessons for a while, but that wasn't really my thing, so I started going on my own terms somewhat. And just a few months ago, I picked up the bass just because somebody needed me to play bass for them, so I was like, all right, I'll see what I can do. And from there, I'm a huge fan of Rush, as is Chris over here, and Geddy Lee, one of the best bass players ever. I just took a page out of his book, and I ran with it, and it seemed to work out pretty well for me.
Well, one thing is for certain, some of the cover material that you guys do is fantastic, but I really like the original stuff that you do, and you're going to be playing a gig now. I think it's June 23rd. Your band is going to be in the city of Camarillo. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you talk to our listeners about this gig?
Yeah, at June 23rd, or I should say on June 23rd, at Rock City Studios, we're going to be doing a show. It's going to be predominantly a recording, audio and video, and then a show secondary. So we can only allow 30 people in because we're going to have all the cameras, all the microphones, all that sort of thing. It's going to be $10 at the door if you are interested in coming, just because we have to pay for those costs. That'll probably be, $350, something like that. But yeah, like I said, it's predominantly a recording and then a show. We're going to release a live album, and it's funny that he's talking about Rush because we already designed a cover and a name for it. And just real quick, the cover is a spoof off of the Rush album, A Show of Hands, and we just superimposed our instruments on there, and we called we noticed that all the best live albums seem to come from Rio in Brazil, and we figured if we take the Cama out, put an apostrophe, live in Rio, Camarillo, and that's going to be the name of the album.
That's very clever. I got to tell you, a lot of the stuff that these guys do, Tom, and we're going to be out in Camarillo to check these guys out on the 23rd, you're going to find that a lot of stuff that they do is very clever with a kind of a quirky shout out on word plays and those kinds of things. Really a good band.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of it, and I did some of the production to get their songs in for it today. And the funny thing is, with a bass player in a band, for a long time, he was just another guy in the band. Mm-hmm. He was that guy. But I think back in my day, Jack Bruce with Cream, then going into Entwistle, guys that did start to throw in a little flair and a little stuff. Then it just got crazy with Rush. I mean, he just took the lid off the whole thing. He started playing like Stanley Clarke and people like that do. With just these, people would wait for a bass solo.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my favorite drum joke in an hour. But the bass solo used to terrify people. And now when you get it so musical, it's so popping, it just really kicks. So that's a huge part of the band.
Folks, stick around. We've got a ton more just up ahead. We're going to be right back. We're going to hear more from Chris and Will of White Elephant. We're going to take a peek at the all-new Acura ILX, and we have our exclusive interview with Deidre Burnett, this year's Miss California. Stick around. You are listening to the hottest automotive talk radio show here in the nation. We are Horsepower for an Hour on News Talk 1520 KVTA. And welcome back to Horsepower for an Hour. Man, it is great having you guys along. We sure appreciate you spending part of your day with us. It is an excellent time having you guys along. Okay, we're jump right back into it now. We've got White Elephant with us. We got Chris and Will of a hot new local band. I want to talk with you guys just a few minutes more. What is it or where is it that you get your inspiration from with some of this stuff?
Most of the inspiration comes from just real life and real struggles and just real things that people can relate to. We have songs here and there where I took a philosophy class for a semester, and we wrote a 15-minute epic song about Allegory of the Cave, which was really fun but really strenuous. But yeah, most of it comes just from real life. And you know, when we write the songs, the advantage we have, there's only two of us in the band, really. And we have a bunch of different ways. We're working on our 6th album right now, and the way that it's been going is I just sit down with an acoustic, write a melody, write some chords, think of, oh, this is a subject that really turned me on today or this week or whatever, and it's real and it relates to me, and I do it, show it to him, he puts his input in, and then before you know it, there's a song.
And Will, how about your inspiration for your bass lines?
Bass lines, again, Geddy Lee. Or, yeah.
Can't argue with that now, can we?
No, definitely. But Geezer Butler, he's a big one. Steve Harris from Iron Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
And the list can go on.
And you like Yes, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
Chris Squire, him and his Rickenbacker.
And you know what's really cool is these guys are really young, and they're talking about guys
Black
that
Sabbath and on
yeah,
back.
yeah, they're going back to when we were kids.
Yeah, that's when the bass first came up, and it was up with Sabbath.
Yeah, no question about that. That's really good stuff. Well, we got to get moving on. I want to tell you guys, thanks so much for stopping in the studio with us and sharing some of your time with us. Talk to our listeners briefly before you go about your show. What's going on? Where can we find you at? Where can we get you online? How can we get involved in voting for you and that sort of thing?
Yeah, the thing I didn't mention about the show earlier is it's going to happen at 3 p.m. Doors will open at 2:30, and we have to be out of there by 5 because there's a hip-hop act coming. I know, sacrilegious almost. But anyway, it happens at 3. We're going to go for about an hour. We're on Facebook. It's just under White Elephant. We're from Ventura, so if you want to narrow your search that way. We're also just been nominated for the VC Music Awards for the Buzz Radio, VC Buzz Magazine, all that kind of stuff for Best Alternative Band. I think it's vcmusicaward.com. Go to Best Alternative Band. You'll see a picture of us jumping with our guitars. It's pretty funny. Yeah, just give us a vote, and we need to beat 8 Stop 7 really bad. And then we just got a website.
Yeah, it's whiteelephantonline.net. We have links to our music. You can get merchandise there, their photos and whatnot, all that good stuff.
And I think the homepage has a big click here to vote button. So you just whiteelephantonline.net, and it's right there.
Well, you can count on our votes, and folks, we invite you to go online and give them a shout out, give them a quick vote. These guys are the real deal. It's great having you guys in studio.
All right, thank you.